So you set them equal to each other. I subtracted 15x. And then I'm going to subtract the 10 and then divide by 10. Anytime it says, when will they cost the same? Same means equal. So we're subtracting 10. So x equals 2. So after 2 hours, that means it doesn't matter which company she goes with, company A or B, it's going to cost the same amount. So yesterday we started solving using elimination. We're going to continue in that. And that's what we have to multiply. Tomorrow we'll finish it out, and then I'm passing out your study guide. Your test is Wednesday. So I think we're on page 19. So for these two, they're already opposite. So I'm only going to do, These two are already opposite. Go ahead and solve the first one, number 1. So you need opposite coefficients. And notice here for this first one, these are already opposite. So because they're already opposite, you have a -4 and a +4, we can just add. We don't have to multiply. So when you add -4 plus 4, you get 0. 3y minus 5y is -2y. -3 plus 5 is 2. Divide both sides by -2. And you get y equals -1. And we have 2 different equations that we can use to find x. I can use the top one that I have highlighted in pink, or the bottom one that I have highlighted in blue. Which one do you want to use, the pink one or the blue one? Raise your hand if you want to use the pink one. Who says blue? All right, so if we use the blue equation, that would be 4x and then minus 5y equals 5. But we know that y is -1. So we're going to put a -1 right there. -5 times -1 is +5. Go ahead and finish that out. Solve that for x. So we're going to subtract 5. And divide by 4. And you get x equals 0. So my solution would be 0, -1. So we're going to skip over 2 because 2 is just like 1. You don't have to multiply. I want to do some where we have to multiply. So I think that was the hardest part. Yesterday was figuring out how to eliminate it when you have to multiply. So let's look at question 4. For question 4, we have these two numbers. They're not opposite. They're the same sign, but it's easy to make them opposite by multiplying. So anytime you have the same number, just multiply one of the equations by -1. So let's take that first equation and multiply it by -1. Just the first equation. Multiply everything in that top equation by -1. So that would be a -6x plus 3y equals -27. So that would be this equation right here. That's the one I multiplied. Now my second equation, we're not going to change it. We're just going to rewrite it just like it is right underneath. Oh, thank you. So now we're ready to add these together because they're opposite. See, these two are opposite, so they're going to cancel or eliminate. So go ahead and solve that for x. So let's see. Hopefully we don't get a decimal because I didn't work these out yet. So -4x, this cancels out. And then -27 plus 11. Type that in your calculator. Type -27 plus 11. -16. So what would be my last step to solve for x? Okay, y'all sounding good. So you get x equals 4. So now we need to figure out what equation we want to use to find y. So we want to use the pink one or the blue one. So raise your hand if you want to use pink. Who says the blue? All right, let's use the blue. So that equation said 2x, but I know what x is now, minus 3y equals 11. Substitute in that 4 and solve it for y. Eight minus 3y equals 11. Subtract the 8 from both sides. Negative 3y equals 3. Divide both sides by -3. And you should get y equals -1. So your solution would be +4, -1. Okay, so we talked about what if you don't have to multiply, what if you have to multiply by -1. So let's do a couple more and then you'll have the rest of the class period to work on homework. So let's look at question 5. 5 and 6 and we're done. So when we look at question 5, I'm noticing that I don't have opposite numbers and I also don't have the same number. So the easiest thing to do would be to make this equation right here, to change this +x to a -2. Right now I have a 1 right here. So what do I need to multiply that blue equation by to change that +1 to a -2? and that would be a -2. So I want everyone to take only this second equation and multiply it by -2. Because you're trying to get opposite terms. All right, go ahead and check your answer, see if you got the same thing I got. So we multiplied it by -2, so that gave us -2x minus 10y equals -4. So when we add, these two terms cancel out. That went away because they were opposite, so they canceled out. 7y minus 10y is -3y. 1 minus 4 is -3. Divide both sides by -3, you get y equals 1. So let's go ahead and find x. So let's use our blue equation. So the blue equation says x plus 5 times y equals 2. Go ahead and solve that for x. Who got that for their solution? -3 and +1. All right, so now let's look at number 6, our last one. And I'll give you a minute to get it copied down or finish copying down 5. And then we'll talk about 6. So for number 6, notice that we don't have opposite numbers. We don't have the same numbers. So we actually have to multiply both of our equations. So when you run into this situation, I think the easiest way to do that would be, do you see how this equation has a 5 and this equation has a 4? I'm going to multiply my bottom equation. So let me go ahead and highlight. I am multiplying this top equation by 5 and the second equation by -4. This is just one way to do this. And the reason why I'm doing that is because if I take 5 times 4, I get 20. And -4 times 5 is -20. I'm trying to make it so my x's are opposite. So pick up your calculator and multiply this entire top equation by 5 and the entire blue equation by -4. So now after you multiply, you have opposite numbers, so we can add them together. So when you add these two together, they cancel out. So 10y minus 12y is negative 2y. And negative 70 plus 68 is negative 2. Divide both sides by negative 2, and you get y is 1. And then you need to decide what equation you want to use to find x. And we'll stick with blue because blue has been our friend. So that would be 5x plus 3. All right, go ahead and solve that for x. Subtract the 3. (5x equals negative 20). Divide by 5. And you should get x equals negative 4. So your solution would be negative 4 and positive 1. So at this point, you should have the entire front side of homework 5 finished. I am going to check that off for points on Monday. Use this time to work on your homework. And if you have questions, I am here to answer them.